Ending the. Thank you, everyone, for attending the public meeting for the 2025 through 2028 Transportation Improvement Program. My name is Ryan Stewart. I'm a Principal Transportation Planner here at Spokane Regional Transportation Council. And I'm going to provide just a brief overview and go over the agenda for today's meeting. Today's public meeting is in a hybrid format, so we're here at the SRTC offices as well as on the Zoom session. We don't have anyone in person as of yet. There will be provided question and answer time after each presentation. If you have any questions or comments, please use the raise hand or the chat functions in Zoom. And you can also email any questions or comments to the email address shown on the screen. That's contact.srtc@srtc.org. The agenda for today's meeting, again, I'll be providing an overview of the draft 25 through 28 tip. And then we'll have presentations from some of our member agencies on their projects. City of Spokane Valley will go first, City of Spokane next. Spokane County after that, Washtenaw Eastern Region, and finally Spokane Transit. And there'll be some time at the end again for final comments, questions. So what is the Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP? It's a 4-year program of regional transportation projects. Any project that receives federal funds or is deemed regionally significant by the SRTC board must be included in the Transportation Improvement Program. We have a section on our website, that's srtc.org, devoted to the Transportation Improvement Program. It includes the full draft document, the current 24 through 27 tip, amendment information, and a link to our online mapping. We use several sources of information to include in the 4-year tip. WashDOT has their project selection process. Spokane Transit Authority also has a project selection process of Federal Transit Administration funded programs and projects. So those are included in the 4-year tip. SRTC also manages certain federal funding sources, such as the Surface Transportation Block Grant Program or the Congestion Mitigation Air Quality Program. And projects selected and that receive funding through those programs are included in the 4-year tip. We also go through all of our local agencies' 6-year tips. And again, anything that's federally funded or regionally significant is included in the tip. SRTC goes through a determination process to ensure that projects and programs included in the tip are consistent with several other processes. First, we determine if projects are consistent with the region's long-range metropolitan and regional transportation plan. And that's called Horizon 2045. There's more information on Horizon 2045 on our website as well. We must also ensure that projects in the tip are consistent with regional plans, such as the congestion management process and our complete streets checklist policies. The SRTC planning region is an attainment area operating under a limited maintenance plan for carbon monoxide and particulate matter 10. So we have to ensure that any project or program that's included in the tip helps us conform with state air quality plans. In essence, we must ensure that projects in the tip do not worsen air quality in our region. And lastly, for any projects that do receive SRTC funding, we must ensure that those are fiscally constrained. What that means is that we have to demonstrate that there is available funding to pay for those projects and programs. As an overview of the 25 through 28 tip, the draft document includes 65 projects in total. 23 of those projects receive some of that SRTC managed funding that I mentioned. The total amount of funding over the 4-year period is almost $900 million. This table illustrates the types of projects included in the 25 through 28 Some of those include active transportation projects. So those are projects that are oriented towards pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure. We have bridge projects. There's several bridge rehabilitation, repair, and even replacement projects that are in the 25 through 28 tip. SDA has been very busy developing their high performance transit network, and projects related to the division BRT, which you'll hear about in just a little bit, are included in this draft tip. There are a couple planning projects underway. Preservation projects are projects that are meant to treat roadway surfaces to extend their lifespan, as opposed to reconstruction projects are actually reconstructing that roadway. We have some rail highway crossing, one rail highway crossing project included, very important project in the city of Spokane Valley. There are other roadway capital projects, the biggest of which include the final sections of the North Spokane corridor and its connection to Interstate 90. We have some safety and security projects included, mostly related to safety improvements such as signing, roundabouts, or other intersection or roadway treatments. I mentioned Spokane Transit. They also have some bus replacement and other FTA funded projects included. TDM stands for Transportation Demand Management, and that includes the Spokane County's commute trip reduction or Commute Smart program. So that's included. And lastly, TSMO stands for Transportation System Management and Operations. And those are projects that are oriented towards improving the flow of traffic and again, improving safety in our region. That could include signal replacements or other technological projects. This is a screenshot of our online mapping tool that we use. It was developed by my coworkers to identify projects, map them, locate them, and provide a little bit more information. So you can go to our website and click on any of these projects to get more information, like is shown in this screenshot. And at the bottom of each of the pop-up boxes, there is a link to be able to email a comment about the projects included in this draft tip. Our public engagement process has been underway since the beginning of September. The public comment period lasts until Monday, September 30th. And the TIP public meeting is ongoing today. And this is being recorded, so the recording will be available on our website as well. The remaining timeline for the development of the TIP includes today's public meeting. We'll be in front of the SRTC board on October 10th, where they'll be considering a recommendation from our committees and from staff to approve this new 25 through 28 TIP. Projects included in the TIP are submitted to Washington State Department of Transportation, their Secure Access Washington portal. Those are due by October 18th. Once those are submitted, they are included in the statewide transportation improvement program. And we anticipate that that will be approved by Federal Highways and Federal Transit in early January. Again, today's meeting will have some featured projects from some of our member agencies. So at this time, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Bob Turner with the City of Spokane Valley to discuss their projects.
Thank you, Ryan. Would you allow me to share my screen? Or do you already have that loaded in your system?
You should be able to. Yeah, you should be able to share now.
Okay, there we go. I think that's it. All right, can everyone see that?
It's starting to come up here.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, thank you again. My name is Bob Turner. I work for the City of Spokane Valley, and I work with Adam Jackson in the planning and grant area. Grateful to be able to give this presentation today. This will highlight our 25 to 28 step highlights. Looking at our local projects with regional and national impact, we have completed and funded projects, which are Barker Road, grade separation project, which has been completed in 2023. Then we have Pines Road grade separation, which is scheduled to be complete in 2026, so something for the future. Our planned priority projects are the Argonne Road Bridge at I-90, Sullivan and Trent interchange, the Barker Road and I-90 interchange, and South Barker corridor from Mission to 8th. We will continue to also focus on street maintenance and preservation so we can continue to keep up all the fun things that we built. Our completed projects, you can see here, Barker was completed in 2023, very significant project, and we're looking forward to the Pines Road grade separation. Moving forward on the details of that now, that project is 48 million and fully funded, and we expect it to be complete in 2026. Our 2024 federal agenda projects, we have the Sullivan and Trent interchange, which we're looking at a project cost of $46 million. The Argonne Road Bridge at I-90, which includes an STA park and ride, excuse me, and that project is estimated to be 24 million. We did want to also highlight our arterial preservation and maintenance. That's something that's very key to us. All the money we have now going into preservation is in our arterial system, which we will continue to focus on again to maintain those assets which we're fortunate enough to get grants for and build. Does anyone have any comments or questions for me? If not, Brian, I have a meeting with the DOT to go over some of our safe route to school projects in the field, so I'm going to have to leave now. So speak now or forever hold your peace.
Well, if anyone has any comments that come to mind after Bob leaves, please just feel free again to use the raise hand or chat function. And I'll follow up with you later, Bob. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. I really appreciate it. Bye.
Next, we'll have Inga Note from the City of Spokane to talk about their projects.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. Let's see. All right. I'm just going to go through a few of the projects on our list. We have a lot of them in there. So I'm just going to highlight some of the different ones. This project is a safety project, and we call it Arterial PED Hybrid Beacons. It's actually in 4 locations spread throughout the city. And you can see the images down on the bottom of the screen. The first location is Regal and Thurston intersection, which is the southwest corner of the Ferris High School property. The next one is Wistocks Way and Randolph, which is just to the west of Spokane Falls Community College and a place where a lot of people try to cross now to access the transit center on the campus. The third one, Nevada Coza. This is just putting in a place where people can have a protected crosswalk on this, what is a really long arterial that carries a lot of traffic. And I think that project also includes adding some bike lanes on Coza to the west. And then Market and Columbia. This is at the one of the northern places where you can get onto the Children of the Sun Trail. So just at the north end of Hilliard, of the little downtown business district. And will connect people over to the Hilliard Pool. So have some federal funding for this, and we're expecting to have it constructed next year. The Millwood Trail, this is a project that's been in the works for a long time between various different agencies. So for this one, we received some Move Ahead Washington funding and carbon reduction program for a total of $6.4 million. And this will run along the south side of the Spokane River, tying into the Children of the Sun and the new non-motorized bridge over the river there next to where you can see Green Street right now. And we'll continue east over towards the airport, Phelps Field Airport. And from there, there's an on-street connection where you can get to the segment that's already been built within the city of Millwood. So this one, we're looking at 2026 construction. Fish Lake Trail to Centennial, another one that's been in the works for a long time. This is a 2-phase project that will make a connection between the Fish Lake Trail and the bridge at People's Park, which already has a trail in place that takes you up a hill to the Centennial Trail, tying into that in the Kendall Yards area. So we are currently doing the final design of phase 1, which is the part closest to the Fish Lake Trailhead. And that'll take it to the top of the dog park, where there's an entrance there at the dog park at 5th and Government Way. And then the second phase will continue down the hill through the park and cross over Riverside Avenue and tie into the bridge there. So we're looking for construction of phase 1, the first part of this, in 2025. We have a couple of safe routes to school projects. This one that I'm highlighting is Francis Scott Elementary, which is just to the east of Freya and south of the freeway. We are adding some sidewalk along Hartson here, which is an arterial that doesn't have sidewalk on either side of it, and also a pretty major connection between Freya and 8th Avenue and Spokane Valley. So putting in sidewalk with some bump outs and some crossing improvements, maintaining the parking lanes, and should be a lot easier for kids to get through there. US 195 Meadow Lane. This is a project that will improve the intersection on US 195 where Meadow Lane currently comes in. We're essentially going to close the current Meadow Lane connection and move it to the south by extending Eagle Ridge Boulevard into US 195, and then kind of separating out the movements by building a J-turn at the north end of it. So the idea is, instead of all the movements coming through the same intersection, we're going to kind of split them up between 3 different locations, which should make it quite a bit safer and add capacity. And this one, I don't have the numbers on there, but it's about a $2.4 million project. Then the last one I have to share is the Freya Palouse Roundabout, which we also call a peanut about because of its shape. It has 5 legs because we need to tie in 51st Avenue, which is actually a county local street, but it's really the only way in and out of the neighborhood at the south end. And so we need to make sure that we maintain access for all directions of traffic to get in and out of there. Also, as part of this, we're going to finish off the section of the Palouse Highway pathway that runs to the northwest. And then it has a section of it already in place that continues up towards Target and to the park up there. And we're going to extend that through the roundabout and continue it a short distance down Palouse Highway to the south as well, with the intent that eventually the county will pick it up and carry that forward and tie it into the park and ride. So this one is 2026 construction.
Great.
And
Any questions?
that's all I have.
I'm not seeing any. Well, thank you very much, Inga. Appreciate that. Now we'll move on to Barry Green with Spokane County to talk about their projects.
Hello, I'm Barry Green, Spokane County Transportation Engineer, and let me see if I can share. Let's see. Is that sharing now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just going to highlight one project for Spokane County, and that's the Argonne and Upriver intersection project. It's funded by $300,000 in National Highway Freight Program money, which is federal funding. It was only funded just for the planning and design portion of it at this point. And the goals, you can see the goals of the NFP funding is safety, mobility, and economic vitality. I won't go through all of those, but the intent of the funding is also to reduce things like pedestrian and bike conflicts with freight transit traffic. Here's the project location. It's located north of Millwood in the Pasadena Park area at the intersection, of course, of Upriver and Argonne. Argonne carries about 20,000 cars a day, 19% trucks. So it's a very busy intersection. Project scope, it's only a engineering and planning study at this point. We're gonna look at the performance of the intersection, freight circulation, capacity, travel time, and of course, air pollution. We will be looking at safety improvements. The active transportation, like I said earlier, reducing the pedestrian bicycle freight conflict. And then the Centennial Trail Argonne Gap crosses this location, so we're going to study that and see if there's a solution to that gap in the Centennial Trail. And then if we have, if the improvement is warranted, we will select a preferred alternative and start seeking funding for the preferred alternative. We have hired a CivTech consulting engineering firm to conduct the study. The study is actually underway right now, and we've concluded with the existing conditions analysis, and we are hoping to finish the project planning part of it in spring of 2025. And that is the conclusion of my presentation. Are there any questions?
Does anyone have any questions for Barry? I'm not seeing any, Barry, so thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much. Appreciate that. Next, we'll have Mike P. with WashDOT Eastern Region.
Thank you, Ryan. I don't have any slides to present today, but I was asked to talk about WSDOT's reduction in projects as part of this tip cycle. So one key difference in the tip cycle this time around for DOT is our reduction in projects. We usually include about 25 or 30 projects in the tip. And this year, we have submitted only 12 projects. The reduction in projects for our agency is primarily due to the limited preservation budget that we received out of the most recent legislative session. A little bit of history on our preservation program. When the Move Ahead Washington funding package was passed by the legislature, it was to be a down payment on our preservation backlog. And so in response to that funding package, we programmed preservation projects to reduce that current backlog. And we kind of front loaded the current or the previous tip with projects in anticipation of funding coming to fruition for those. However, the anticipated funding for this project was not realized, and a lot of that had to do with construction costs increasing across the state for some of our biggest projects due to inflation, and the agency's focus in delivering our fish program, which is part of the injunction area around the Puget Sound. The typical projects that you're not seeing in the tip that we've had before are things like, a lot of it is related to bridge preservation, things like joints and deck rehabs, signal replacements, and the maintenance of signals. Some things that have a life cycle that is a little bit more tolerant to pushing them out a little bit. So the future outlook for our preservation program is going to be directly controlled by legislative action. We've submitted our unfunded needs list through the agency to the governor's office for consideration in the agency's budget. We anticipate the preservation funding being addressed over the next legislative cycle or two, at which time we'll be back kind of to business as usual and moving forward with our preservation projects. Are there any questions?
Anyone have any questions for Mike? I'm not seeing any, Mike, so thank you again.
Okay, I'll hang out in case someone could come up later.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, the last agency is Spokane Transit. So we have Don Skillingstad here to present some information on their projects.
All right, thanks, Ryan. Get that pulled up here. All right, I assume everybody can see that. Thanks, Ryan. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Don Skillingstad. I'm a senior project manager with Spokane Transit, and I am going to talk about our latest major capital project, the Division Street BRT project. So this project, it's our second major capital project, our second bus rapid transit project. It'll feature 15-minute service or better, zero emission battery electric or zero emission buses that are 60-foot branded buses, kind of similar to the City Line vehicles. This BRT will be approximately 10 miles long. It'll start in downtown Spokane, make its way up Division, up to Farwell Road and the Mead area and terminate there. We're looking at potentially constructing a new transit center at the north end of the alignment, and downtown we'll have we're looking at a downtown charging location for the vehicles. One of the major design aspects of this project is it will feature business access and transit or BAT lanes along Division from the river north to the Y. And this will be something completely new for this region. They are used in other parts of the United States and actually throughout the world, but they're basically bus only and right turn only lanes for vehicles. And what this does is it allows our buses to run in a semi-dedicated running way. Vehicles are not stuck behind buses. We're not stopping in traffic. Buses are running basically in their own lane. However, vehicles are still allowed to make right-hand turns into and out of businesses along Division and Ruby. Another major aspect of this project is Ruby Street. We are looking at and working with the city and the state on some pretty major improvements to Ruby Street that could include a fairly significant bike lane or bike path or some sort of multi-use path throughout Ruby Street. Right now, we're in our 30% design phase. We are working with the agencies on kind of incremental reviews of our plans because we do have about 45 different construction sites for this project. It's a fairly comprehensive and extensive plan set. And so we are working with the agencies on incremental reviews of packages of stations as we get them completed. We're working extensively with utility providers, namely Avista, with our electric vehicles, potentially electric vehicles, and charging locations requires significant power to those our charging location as well as our stations throughout the alignment. We started the environmental process with FTA. We have initiated our historic and cultural resources consultation with state and federal agencies. We've also started our work on our grants application package, which is fairly extensive. And we're working right now on our fall outreach calendar, so scheduling events with neighborhood councils, open houses, online events, those sorts of things. For our project schedule, we will continue with 30% design until about March or April of next year. During that time, as I said, we'll be working on our NEPA package. We're also starting work on our grant package. And so those kind of three major tasks will be continuing on through spring of next year. We'll transition into our 60% design phase, complete hopefully NEPA and 60% design at the end of next year. That will roll into our state environmental process and our 90% design phase, which we hope to complete kind of late spring of 2026, and begin our our final plan reviews and permit reviews with all the agencies of jurisdiction. And the goal is to have our permits and our approved small starts grant through the Federal Transit Agency by the end of 2026, and which will begin our bidding phase and hope to go out to bid the first part of December of 2027, with construction starting in April of 2027 and completing sometime in 2030. And one of the major points of this project to kind of keep in mind is this project is tied to the opening of the NSC. So this project will not start. The striping for the BAT lanes along division will not be installed until the opening of the NSC. So as that project gets delayed, so does the opening of this project. So that is all I have. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, we have one question in the chat for you, Don, from
Okay.
Tim. It says, are those new lanes or will you be eliminating lanes on division? I assume that's in reference to the BAT lanes.
We will be removing a general purpose lane on division, both in the northbound and the southbound direction, yes. And that would be from basically the river north up to somewhere near the Y. We haven't, we're just starting that work, the design work, so we're not fully clear on where those terminations will be, but those two general locations.
Thank you. Tim, you're welcome to come off mute if you have any more questions or comments on that. Hopefully that answered your question. Are there any other questions, comments for Don? Great. Well, thank you very much, Don. I appreciate you presenting today, and
Yeah,
that
thanks, Ryan.
concludes our presentations from our member agencies. The meeting is scheduled to run until 1 o'clock. So I'll continue to be present here with my contact information on the screen in case we have anyone else show up. Other member agency staff are welcome to sign off. If I do get any more questions or comments, I'll follow up with you at a later time. But thanks again for everyone presenting and attending today's TIP public meeting. My contact information is on the screen. If you have any more comments or questions, feel free to ask them now or follow up with me either by phone or email. Thanks again.